How many times have you looked back at a conversation with a woman and wondered what went wrong? You texted her, you showed interest, you tried to be respectful. Maybe you even thought things were going well. Then suddenly, she pulled away. Her replies got shorter, the energy disappeared, and you were left staring at your screen, replaying every moment, trying to figure out what you missed. You know the feeling. You remember that one woman who seemed interested at first. She laughed at your jokes. She asked questions. She made eye contact. Then somehow, everything changed. Not overnight, not dramatically, just enough to make you feel confused. And that confusion is exactly why this conversation matters. I'm here, and this is the Stoic Way, where we uncover the real psychology that creates desire. Because there is one sign women give away constantly. Most men never see it. They are looking for obvious clues while missing the signal that reveals everything. And I'll warn you now, the final one is incredibly powerful. It can change everything fast, and almost no one uses it correctly. Before we begin, understand something important. This was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. Most men were taught that attraction is created through effort, more texting, more compliments, more availability, more proving yourself. But attraction rarely works that way. The problem was never that you lacked value. The problem was that you were looking for attraction in the wrong order. You focused on what she said. You should have been watching what she revealed. Because female attraction is deeply emotional, much of it happens beneath conscious awareness. Long before a woman openly expresses interest, her mind is already making decisions. Tiny decisions, fast decisions, emotional decisions, and those decisions leak through behavior. That is the sign. Not one specific gesture, not one magical sentence, a pattern, a collection of signals that point in one direction. Investment. When a woman begins investing emotionally, she starts giving away pieces of herself, and that changes everything. Evolutionary psychology gives us a useful framework here. Human beings developed mental shortcuts, fast assessments, subconscious scanning. Women especially evolved to evaluate more than appearance. They scan for strength, stability, emotional intelligence, social value, purpose. Not because they consciously sit there making calculations, because deep patterns are running in the background. And when those patterns detect potential value, investment begins. She shares more. She notices more. She remembers more. She gives more. The mistake most men make is chasing signals of attraction while ignoring signals of investment. Investment tells the truth. And once you understand what creates investment, you stop chasing. You become the man women want to win over. The first trigger is masculine presence. Not looks, not money, not flashy confidence. Presence, grounded energy. A man who seems comfortable in his own skin creates emotional safety and emotional tension at the same time. Think about the difference. One man enters a room looking around for approval. Another enters calmly, relaxed posture, slow movements, comfortable silence. Who feels stronger? You already know. Women notice this immediately, not consciously, emotionally. Imagine you're sitting across from her. There's a brief silence. Instead of rushing to fill it, you smile and remain relaxed. No nervous rambling, no performance, just calm. That moment says more than 20 clever lines. Strength speaks quietly, and when she starts leaning in during those moments, she's giving something away. Attention follows presence. The second trigger is emotional challenge. Most men become predictable, agreeing with everything, laughing at everything, trying not to offend, trying not to lose her. But attraction needs polarity. It needs contrast. It needs emotional movement. A playful tease can do more than 10 compliments. Not because you're being rude, because you're showing confidence. Imagine she tells you she's always late. Instead of saying, "That's okay," You grin and say, "I knew it. You looked like trouble." Playful, light, confident. Now the interaction has energy. The key is respect. Always. Never insult, never attack. Simply create emotional contrast. Attraction loves movement. The third trigger is selective attention. This one changes everything. Many men accidentally communicate desperation without realizing it. Instant replies, unlimited availability, constant checking, constant pursuit. But attention is valuable, and value increases when it is selective. That doesn't mean playing games. It means having a life, purpose, goals, friends, responsibilities, a mission. When a woman sees that your world doesn't revolve around her, something interesting happens. Your attention becomes meaningful. Imagine she texts you during a busy day. You reply later that evening with genuine interest, not because you're manipulating, because you were actually living your life. Now your attention feels earned, real, valuable. Scarcity creates appreciation, and when she starts finding reasons to reach out first, she's giving away investment. She's revealing interest through effort. If this is making sense so far, hit subscribe and join the Stoic Way community. It helps more men learn what they were never taught. Now let's go deeper, because this is where most men completely miss the sign. A woman who is emotionally invested begins offering details, tiny details, details she doesn't have to share. Her favorite coffee order, a childhood memory, a stressful day, a random story from years ago. Most men hear these things and move on. But the fourth trigger is intentional listening. This is one of the rarest skills in modern dating. Everyone wants to be understood. Very few people feel understood. When you remember small details, you create a powerful emotional experience. Not because of memory, because of meaning. Imagine she casually mentions loving a certain author. 3 weeks later, you reference that author in conversation. Now something happens. She realizes you listened, really listened, not to respond, to understand. That feeling is powerful. People remember how seen they felt. And when she begins sharing deeper parts of herself, she's giving away everything. Investment grows through understanding. The fifth trigger is calibrated vulnerability. Notice the word calibrated. Many men hear vulnerability and immediately go too far. They unload trauma, complain endlessly, seek emotional rescue. That isn't vulnerability. That's emotional dumping. Real vulnerability is controlled, intentional, strong. You reveal something real without making her responsible for fixing it. For example, maybe you tell her about a period in your life when you struggled with confidence. You explain what happened, what you learned, how you grew. Now she sees depth, humanity, strength, not weakness, strength. Because true confidence isn't pretending you've never struggled. It's knowing you survived it. Women respond to authenticity, not perfection. And when she begins sharing her own fears and insecurities, she's investing emotionally. She's opening doors. Trust is attraction's closest friend. Now here's where things become fascinating. Because attraction isn't only emotional, it's biological. Chemicals matter, which brings us to the sixth trigger: gradual physical touch, respectful, natural, appropriate, never forced, never rushed. Human beings are wired for connection. Physical touch can release oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. But timing matters. Context matters. Everything matters. A light touch on the arm during laughter. A brief moment of connection while walking together. Nothing dramatic, nothing rehearsed, just natural progression. Imagine you're sharing a funny story. She laughs. You lightly touch her arm for a second. She she stays engaged, smiling, comfortable. That tells you something. Her response matters more than your action, always. Respect is non-negotiable. The goal is connection, not pressure. And when she begins finding reasons to move closer, she's giving away investment. Her body is revealing what words often hide. Now pay close attention, because the final trigger is the one almost nobody understands, yet it creates extraordinary results. Controlled unpredictability. Human brains are fascinated by rewarding uncertainty. Dopamine responds strongly when positive outcomes arrive unexpectedly. That's why predictable interactions often lose energy. Not because predictability is bad, because mystery disappears. Many men accidentally become completely readable. Same texts, same schedule, same conversations, same reactions. No surprise, no discovery, no intrigue. Controlled unpredictability creates healthy mystery. Imagine she expects a normal conversation. Instead, you tell her about an interesting experience you had that day, a spontaneous adventure, a new skill you're learning, an unusual goal you're pursuing. Suddenly, she sees another layer, something unexpected, something she didn't know. Now curiosity activates, and curiosity is incredibly powerful. Here's the important distinction. This isn't manipulation. This isn't disappearing for 3 days. This isn't creating anxiety. It's continuing to grow, continuing to evolve, continuing to reveal new dimensions of yourself. Purpose creates mystery. Growth creates intrigue. And when she starts asking more questions, she's giving away everything. Curiosity is investment wearing a disguise. Now let's connect all of this, because the sign we've been talking about isn't one thing, it's a pattern. A woman who is becoming attracted begins investing. She offers attention, she shares stories, she remembers details, she asks questions, she initiates conversations, she creates opportunities for connection, she moves emotionally closer. The exact behaviors vary, the pattern remains. Investment, that is the sign. And once you see it, you stop obsessing over every text message. You stop analyzing every emoji. You stop searching for certainty in words. Instead, you watch behavior. Behavior tells the truth. Think back to moments in your own life. The women who were genuinely interested probably made things easier. Not perfect, not effortless, but easier. They participated, they contributed, they invested. That's the difference. A woman who is emotionally invested doesn't just receive attention, she gives it. That's what most men miss. They're so focused on proving themselves that they never stop to ask whether she's investing too. That question changes everything, because attraction is not about convincing, it's about discovering. You're not trying to force feelings, you're observing reality, and reality becomes much clearer when you understand these triggers. Masculine presence, grounded energy, emotional challenge, playful polarity, selective attention, a purposeful life, intentional listening, making people feel seen, calibrated vulnerability, strength through authenticity, gradual physical touch, respectful connection, controlled unpredictability, curiosity through growth. None of these are tricks. They are expressions of genuine value. That's why they work. Women aren't responding to techniques. They're responding to what the techniques represent: confidence, purpose, emotional intelligence, strength, depth, presence. The deeper truth is that attraction often reveals itself long before a woman says anything directly. Her investment starts speaking first. And when you learn to recognize it, your entire dating experience changes. You become calmer, more observant, less reactive, less needy. You stop chasing certainty. You start noticing reality. That alone separates you from most men, because most men are running after validation. You are learning to understand behavior. That is power, quiet power, the kind that doesn't need attention, the kind that doesn't need approval, the kind that naturally attracts it. Remember this: you do not need to become someone else. You do not need to memorize lines. signs. You do not need to manipulate emotions. You do not need to perform. You simply need to understand the hidden patterns that have always been there. The moment you understand them, confusion starts disappearing. The game becomes clearer, not easier, clearer. And clarity changes everything. The strongest men are not the loudest. They are not the flashiest. They are not the most aggressive. They are the most aware. Aware of themselves, aware of others, aware of the signals people reveal without realizing it. That awareness creates confidence, real confidence, not borrowed confidence, not fake confidence, real confidence, the kind built on understanding. So the next time you're talking to a woman, stop looking only for compliments. Stop looking only for obvious signs. Look for investment. Look for effort. Look for curiosity. Look for emotional openness. Look for participation. Because when those things appear consistently, she is telling you far more than words ever could. And once you see that sign, you'll never miss it again. Use these tools with respect. Use them with intention. Remember that they are real tools, not tricks. You are not trying to control another person. You are learning how genuine attraction develops. That distinction matters a lot. You don't need perfection. You need strategy. You don't need flawless looks. You need awareness. You don't need endless effort. You need direction. And the man who understands these patterns silently levels up. Not because he becomes someone new, because he finally understands what was always happening beneath the surface. That is where true confidence begins. That is where attraction becomes clearer. That is where chasing ends. And that is where your next chapter starts. If you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming the man women genuinely desire, subscribe to The Stoic Way now. Turn on notifications, because the next one will shift your reality again.